Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to SKTV. Welcome to today's edition. Welcome to the show. Let's have you please help us share the show. Please help us share the show. Folks, please. Um, Welcome to today's edition. Welcome to the show. Today we will be in conversation with Emmanuel Savice. A lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to uncover, especially in terms of the justice and accountability issues in Liberia. So we get plenty thing to talk here today. In the meantime, when you join us, if you join us, share the show. Tell us where you're following us from, please. And we will take it from there. Let's share the show as we await to connect with Liberia. We await to connect with folks from Canada, and especially our guest, Mr. Emmanuel Savice, who will be joining us later or very soon. But let's share the show in the meantime, folks. Let's share the show. Tell us where you are following us from. Happy New Week. Happy New Week. Happy New Week to everyone. It's a good time to be alive. A lot of things going on around the world. We are excited to be alive. We are thrilled. Very exciting times. So let's share the show, please. If you can, help us share the show. Monk will be joining us. We'll make time here in a little bit to recognize some of you. But let's share the show. Please, let's share the show. As we get ready for a thought-provoking, stimulating conversation, let's share the show, please. Please, let's share the show. Yo, help us share the show. Let me talk in the Liberian way. Yo, please help us share the show. Yo, help us share the show, my people. You will not die if you share the show. You will not die, folks. Let's share the show. We're having conversation here with Emmanuel Savice. Any moment from now, we'll be having our folks from Liberia joining us via the radio. I've seen a lot of people from New Jersey so far. Okay, Cedar Rapids, Colorado. Wonderful. So cool people that joining us. So far, so good. So far, so good. Let's share the show, folks. I think sharing the show is the biggest favor you can do us now. I think so, in my view. Please don't get me wrong. Sharing the show is one of the biggest favors you can do us now. Yes. So let's share the show, folks. I know Siku will join us. I know Monk will join us. Last night Monk and I had a lengthy conversation. We talked about a lot of different things on the phone. We talked social issues, politics, a lot of different things. I was just catching up with my boy. It felt good. It felt really good. Catching up, talking about a lot of different things. So let's share the show, please. Okay, let's start recognizing some of you who have written on here. It's Yan Pay Boy Yan, watching us from New Jersey. Lovely Peel. T. Perry, watching us from Minnesota. Normally, Minnesota people can be tapping, so they probably have not started trooping in yet. They would, or they will soon start trooping in. Let me put it that way. Who can speak good English? Oh yeah. Bruno Brazil, say here from Minnesota, from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I think that one of the places. That one of the places I need to go the next time I come to Iowa. I've heard of Cedar Rapids a lot. James Yancey is watching us from New Jersey. Okay. James, that's good. James Yancey is watching us from New Jersey. That is real good. I've seen a lot of New Jersey people. A lot of you guys following. Let's see who else. Let's see who else. Well, a little you're afraid to tell where you're watching us from, right? Rose Roberts is watching us from USA MD, which is Maryland. But let's share the show, folks. We are playing host to Emmanuel Savice. Yeah, Eric, let us know where you're following us from, please. Let us know where you're following us from. Smith, what's up, my man? Let us know where you're following us from. Mustafa say we should invite the People's Senator of Bapolu, Amara Kone. Yeah, man, we invite Amara Kone, we invite all the lawmakers is Melbourne still got the music going on there. Melbourne still got the music going on there, so Melbourne, let us know when you're done with the music. When you're done with the music, let us know, please. Melbourne, let us know when you're done with the music, please.
Yes, so indeed, yes, folks, we got to take the one down and join our team. Sorry, or Steve, it's not easy sometimes when the system, yes, indeed, when you are getting a system to cooperate or to work together, it can be easy. So, indeed, good evening. I don't know what you're getting me. If
my man, I'm getting you. You people now. You give me your IE share.
Mama, you are always combative. What kind of man are you?
Mama, you give me your IE share. I'm pressing you, brother. You give me your IE share.
Yes, indeed. Actually, when it comes to football in Liberia, I'm a strong supporter of the Invisible 11. So every time you see me, you always see me in my eye, eye color, and so on. Indeed.
My man, I'm former IE man.
Everything you've been from, what kind of man are you? Every time when you and I maybe into certain organization, you just leave me like that. No, it's not right. Steve,
my man, I'm former IE man. I'm former IE man. You know why I was much younger? Well, I think one of the very first time I saw former President George Weah and my mom who took me on the field in Kakata Magibi, the field. I think they went out there for some kind of tournament or for some kind of training camp or something. And George Weah was, I think IE went for training. Something that had some kind of game. Kakata, my mom took me. I still remember. I was a little boy. I went there. I saw everybody in yellow. She and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. And I was telling her, I said, remember that time? She said, yeah, I told you on the field that day, George Weah didn't were there. Some of the were there.
Seriously, can you imagine though? You were having the opportunity by that time to stand, or in fact to even associate with the president, but you don't know the future. In fact, you let me think as to what's going to happen.
I saw the president for the very first time.
Former president.
Yeah, let me talk about with United Party the former president. Because the one I made laugh, even when they give him press conference, they got to say the president and call the phone. We know the man are president, bro. That's the thing.
Yeah, very,
You
very
know,
easy.
I saw them that time back in the day. They used to wear, that short, those
Okay.
small
Yes.
trousers.
Mm-hmm.
I saw President Joe
At
wear
that
that.
time, it used to be called, I don't know, Money Not Rich, right? Because even the late Michael Jackson, also,
During those
mm,
days, Melbourne, during those days when the president was actively playing, during those days, and that Michael Jackson, minutes will be on. During those days, that big boy then or wear those kind of trousers then. When you wear that trouser, you people. Then that small children can wear it. Then I know keke you wear kind of what it got them. So so I've been an IE man for a minute. Don't see me that day, my brother. I've been IE man for a minute, but it's just that IE got to face things for me to come back to support them. They got to face things. But anyway, folks, welcome to the show. Today we'll be having a conversation with Emmanuel Savice, who will join us in just a little bit here. Emmanuel Savice is our guest. We have a lot of things to talk about in terms of justice, accountability. Many of you know the name Emmanuel Savice. You remember Emmanuel Savice. We'll talk about where he is today, what's going on, a lot of different things we'll talk about. But Melbourne, on that note, as always, the Liberian people are the most important people on earth. Most importantly, the Liberian women are the most beautiful women on earth. Folks, please share the show. Invite your friends, invite others. Let's have this conversation today. The issue of justice and accountability, we'll talk about it. We include a lot of different things that's happening. Lot of different things are happening around the country in terms of justice, in terms of accountability. And just for the record, we have the full document here of, we told you we've been doing the research of the whole beer mounting, this who signed it, the concession, what in it, who all them signed it. It will shock you to see some of the names that signed it. Some of them are in government today. You understand? We might not get into that conversation today because our guest, that's not what he's here for. But we just want you to know we got the documents, we are perusing it, we are viewing it, we are reviewing everything. We will speak to it very, very soon as to what brought us here and what's going on, what's in that agreement. Melbourne, I'm on a page now where I'm reading about the educational part of it, the incentive for education. We'll talk about all of those things. But it's interesting. It's interesting for you to know. Folks, let's share the show. Let's invite other people. Melbourne, that being said, the Liberian people are the most important people on earth. And the Liberian women are the most beautiful women on earth. Melbourne, what say you? Let's turn it over to you. How the country, what's going on? What is the latest? What to expect? What's going on, Melbourne?
Thank you, Steve, and let me say thanks to our viewers and that our listeners. Thank you so much. Even some of you who are also watching, please don't forget. Maybe if yesterday you were not able to chip in, and today is Saturday. Also, please don't forget about the Cash App. Also, that will be able to help the team to go out there to do a lot of work. That SKTV will want you to be informed as to what's going on across the country. So, indeed, thanks to all of you, Steve. Indeed, you are correct. Day by day, Liberia, somebody will say we are getting there, but howbeit we are cool. Yes, indeed, apart from the protest that happened about a day ago, where we witnessed the clashes between police and other civilians that led to the death of almost 3 persons, according to the information that we got up from Grand Caymount County. And that protest, if I can, has been restored in Grand Caymount County. And the people there, they are going about doing a normal business or businesses. And on yesterday evening in New York, Carway, right? Yeah, Carway, there's this incident that happened on yesterday between the LEC power theft team and that of one of our own citizens also who was allegedly involved into power theft. So according to the information, he and that of the LEC power theft team went into a clash, and unfortunately he lost his life. And that was one of the things that have been training in Liberia, and our people, they are still investigating that. There are a lot of people who've been tuning into the home of the late Joshua or Josephus as Tube. There are a lot of government officials, including the senator of Margibi County, Nathaniel Mankiel, and there are some city officials or former government officials, including the city mayor of Monrovia, Jefferson Coaches. So indeed, there are a lot of Liberians and people are calling for investigation when it comes to what happened on yesterday at Corwell. But we are good. Liberia is kind. We are all moving about freely, doing our normal business or businesses, and the weather condition here is still hot. Mind you, the schedule in the change of power, or we say current schedule. So either today the current go to the side, after maybe a few hours it go on the other side. That's the kind of situation I found ourselves in Liberia. But howbeit, we are good, and yes, we are moving about freely. Thank God for life.
Thank you, Milborn. Well, let's welcome Sekou. Sekou, welcome to the show. What's going on? I see you've been training extensively, zealously, enthusiastically. What is happening? You've been training. What's going on behind all the training? You've been taking push on.
What's going on behind all the training is the big challenge to you, to Milborn, to Sarah, to everybody from SKTV family. I want you guys to join me in this no pain, no gain mentality. It's healthy, and I want you guys to join me. And as a matter of fact, you already promised that you're going to join me tomorrow for the Sunday part of it. So I want to see Milborn, doing a video where he's jogging or maybe somehow doing a push-up. Some kind of healthy thing, whatever is healthy is good. It's a challenge to all SKTV family. And very soon we're going to be, adding some of the friends on it too, into the challenge. So they too can do it. I know there are some guys that are very fit, physically fit, mentally fit, and ready to do it. So yes, what is behind that is trying to stay healthy. A healthy man is a rich man. Our health is the most important thing in our life. So yeah, that's the only thing behind it, just to stay healthy. Yeah, but I want to say good morning, good afternoon to all our people, especially those of you who are in Liberia on this Saturday weekend, taking your time to follow us. Steve, I've observed, maybe when you come on, you can't emphasize enough telling the people then to share the show. If they don't share the show, you will just close the show and go. When you're on the show, a lot of people can share the show. I have to come and start sharing a lot. What happened?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't even know what's going on in that department.
Yeah, that department is poor, right?
Yeah, that department I'm working too well in that department.
You're not working too well. They got to tell them to share the show. Everybody got to share the show.
I think what we can do, we can call Emmanuel Savice, because I know he's setting up to come on. We can call him to postpone the show. Yeah. Because our people are not sharing.
I just come from jogging. I'm tired. I can go sleep right now. I can go take a nap right now.
And we can't where to go. We can't keep on with it.
So while the people are sharing the show, Sekou, I want to ask you this question. The beginning of what you just started, how it be like, or in fact, what the secret? Because I started similar to that, and I was struck up. In fact, I had to take. Can you imagine though? I drug to go, I take car to come home. So what?
That means facing things. That means facing things, my brother. So that kind of situation is facing things.
Yeah, so for the gym that I go to, that gym is about 10-minute jogging from my house.
Okay.
So I jog 10 minutes to go, do some exercise, train, do some lifting, some push-up, and then jog 10 minutes to come back. So at least I like to work within the perimeter around 1 hour 10 to 1 hour 20 minutes, everything to go, to run, to go, to run, to come back. You don't have to run the whole time. If you run,
so I mean, you're not gonna go.
You don't stop though. If you run, you got tired of running, then you walk faster. You don't have to stop. Just continue. As long as you work, I'm going to but it's tough though. It's not easy.
But I'm using the mud, but thank God at least I survived it. But thank you for that.
Milborn, quickly before we move any further, I beg you. Let's.
In fact, I'm going to add Emmanuel Savice in this challenge. Emmanuel Savice got to show do a video, doing a push-up, or go to the gym, do something, any kind of healthy thing. I have to see the video. Other than that, was what it meant.
For some reason, Mr. Kane, I don't know if Mr. Emmanuel Savice is appear on camera.
Yeah, the man is there.
I can't see him, so I have
You not
to.
seeing the man?
Yeah, I
You want me to
have
put the man on the camera?
No, I have to do that thing. I'll be right back. I have to do something.
Yeah, man, yeah, you want the camera.
So
but
please, let me share the
come
show.
on, the camera can go
No,
there.
we're not bringing the guests on until you know, for the next
Oh,
one.
until the push the show, right?
Yeah, we're not bringing the
Yeah,
guests on.
having that kind of valuable, important, one of the most, recognizable person when it comes to World Economic Crimes Code coming on and people not sharing the show.
Yeah,
we're not go there.
Let me say this.
In the back.
Yeah, we'll call Emmanuel Savice in the back and discuss and have.
Yeah, it may too important for both to be here slacking and sharing the show.
We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
But anyway, somebody just texted me said they will share the show, so forgive them.
Okay, no problem. Then definitely we can, folks. Mr. Savice, how are you?
Moses, I'm doing very good, man. Thank you very much for the invite. Sekou, how you doing? My other brother there, I think I need to wear my glasses now. Seeing Johnson, right?
Yeah, that's
Johnson. How are you, my brother?
I'm great, Chief. Thank God. At least I'm happy to see you again. Very while though.
I know. I've been hiding, man. I'm hiding behind Sekou and Moses at this point. I need their protection.
I know. You didn't miss me, my man. We missed you though.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
It's been a minute. Yeah.
Yes, but welcome, Mr. Savice. This is not your first time on the show. We want to welcome you to SKTV. For those of you who do not know, Mr. Savice will give you an opportunity. Please introduce yourself to our audience and those who are listening to us in Liberia.
Well, obviously, my name is Emmanuel Savice. I would like to be known as the guy who fight for War and Economic Crimes Code. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Liberia United for Justice and Accountability, so LOJA for short. LUJA is the acronym. We are the organization that have been busy during the George Weah's administration calling for War and Economic Crimes Code. We were in Liberia about 5 times, making sure that we protest and give out documents for the War and Economic Crimes Code. I lived in Canada. I also father of 6 children and married. But I would like to be known as the guy who fight for War and Economic Crimes Code.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Savice. Is it okay if I call you Emmanuel? I'm not used to calling you.
Oh, yeah. Emmanuel is just perfect.
Okay, wonderful. So, Mr. Savice, you've been gone for a while. What say you? Where have you been? What's going on? How's life? How's family? I mean, I follow you personally, so I know what's going on. But what's going on?
Well, I appreciate that, Moses. Of course, I'm following you as well. We've done our job. The job is not over yet. But basically, what we did during the George Weah administration, we thought when Weah took over, we thought this was a guy who was going to be interested in justice and accountability. The fact that he is not from the political scene. We honestly thought that the president was not connected to any warlord. So we thought, well, the best advocacy in Liberia is justice and accountability. So the War and Economic Crimes Code rings bell to us who wanted to see a better Liberia. So what we did was we intensified the campaign during the Weah's administration. We did not know that the president was against it. We did not know that the president was supporting war law. We did not know that the president was constrained about corruption. We thought that we would have had a better presidency in George Weah administration. So we intensified it. We went to Liberia. Obviously, you guys are aware of what happened. There were many demonstrations for justice and accountability, many protests. The last one, we got arrested, thrown in prison. We spent some time there. The United Nations stepped in, the Canadian embassy stepped in, and we were released. We're told that we were going to be going to court. My own friend Solo Caldwell, who is my own big brother, released a statement from the executive mansion because he was the press secretary to the president. That I blocked the president convoy or whatever lie it was, and I was going to be forwarded to court. But I'm glad that other people intervened, and I was released. So what we did after we went back to Liberia, we launched the 1 million victim signature, without any support from any organization. without any support from any government official. We would think that the president and the CDC administration will support that process. They did not, and we struggle to make sure this was possible. And we end up collecting 300,000+ signatures that we submitted to Washington. So we thought our job was done from that end, and all we have been doing now is just working with the people in charge and negotiating with them and seeing where we at. So that's why it seemed like we're silent, but we are not fighting anybody on Facebook, because obviously most of the people that are there are advocating because they're looking for a job. You know, they want to make sure to support people so they can benefit. We wanted to have a different kind of advocacy, and that's why we have been silent.
Okay, that's why we have been silent. We'll get to the collections of the documents and where we are, what's expected. We'll get to that portion of the conversation because that's where this is. Let me chip in this other question and see if we can follow up here with you. You mentioned people looking for a job. It's interesting how one government has gone, a new government's here. Can we finally look forward to Emmanuel Savice taking a political appointed job should he be called on to serve in Liberia? What say you?
And you know, Moses, and that's the thing, and that's the part of advocacy that I don't get. Every time you try to get involved, people think that you are looking for a job back home. There are a lot of jobs where I live, thousands of jobs where I live. It's not in my best interest to abandon my family, abandon jobs that are possible right here in Canada to run to Liberia to look for a job. I think people in Liberia need the job the most. And I am not looking for a political appointment anytime soon. We were accused somewhere in 2017 and along the line when there were so many by-elections, people thought that we were involved because we're trying to be representative, a senator, or getting some sort of appointed position. I hope our advocacy and our time behind the political scene have proven that's not what we want. No, I am not interested in government position at this point. If I need a job, Walmart is about 2 kilometers away from me. I can find a job right here in Canada, and that's exactly what I intend to do.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Kanye. It's up to you.
Yeah, I laugh because my man mentioned of Walmart. Of all the jobs, only Walmart you mentioned, the man trying to tell you say, I prefer doing the cheapest one.
I can do any job, but man, what do you think, Sekou?
The easiest one, I prefer doing stocking at night. I remember I was working, in the United States, those were some of the things that we were looking for, just to do a stocking, just to be, packing Walmart stuff on the shelf. But yeah, but man, it's good to see you again, Emmanuel Savice. And I don't know whether you remember days, but I will say it again, when the whole war and economic crimes code advocacy was going on, and I was like, no, I'm not going to be part of it. I don't trust the process. I don't trust anybody. I say most of these people are politically motivated. I said there's no genuine quest for justice and accountability in Liberia except for few people. And I enumerated a few people. Steve can remember vividly. This is a few years ago. You were one of those. Yasindi and a few people that I believe that they were in it, that they were really fighting to see justice prevail in Liberia. And I would say at long last, something's in the pipeline. We don't show 100% because this is a government. They have already started backpedaling. Oh, they want an old video. Their video is not recent. Oh, just a bad guy, we didn't meet. So all the kind of thing and trying to walk back something that people see as the best thing ever in the life of this government. Now you are trying to walk that back. I'm not sure what is behind that, but I can tell you, I am very proud of you and others who embark on this journey earlier on when nobody were genuine about it. When some of us said, we're not going to be a part of it because I like to be part of something that is genuine, 100%. Either I'm in it or I'm not in it.
Correct.
And I told you guys that time that most of the political actors, when you ask them, they will tell you, yes, I will, for political expediency. But now that Joseph Boakai is going beyond the fray, trying to actualize some of those gimmicks, campaign rhetorics, saying that we're going to do this and just get over with this once and for all. I'm very much impressed about Joseph Boakai's action, but is this a sustainable action? Is this an action that Joseph Boakai will withstand the heat, the pressure? Is this something that Liberians legislature will actually embark on genuinely, to make sure that they succeed? But my question to you, Emmanuel Savice, do you trust this new process started by Joseph Boakai is sustainable?
And Sekou, that's a genuine question, and it's a real genuine concern for every one of us, because I would tell you from my experience with politicians in Liberia when it comes to the War and Economic Crimes Code, it seems like everyone is involved in the process of making sure that this does not come to fruition. I have been in Liberia before, and I've rated every political leader. Joseph Yuma Boakai, our present president, His Excellency, was one of those rating. We've heard nothing back from him. Like I said, the only person that ever opened their arms to talk to us was Mr. Alexander Cummings. The rest of the senators, the representative, the president, those political leaders, nobody seemed really genuine. Of course, of the effort of people like Tiawan Gonglo and all that. But that's why our advocacy included two processes. One is to engage the government and our representative, Liberians at large. And that's what we did. That part of it, I'll tell you our experience. Our experience is more of the people wanting justice. The people want justice. They really care about it. They want it. They don't know how to go about it. They know how important it is. And then the other step is those who in power don't want it. I did not meet anybody in Liberia who genuinely want justice. I'm telling you, I don't care who you can point out in the Republic of Liberia that have served as senator or is serving as senator, that has been your past senator or your representative before, representative now. Genuinely, I had a one-on-one conversation with many of those people, and the genuity of their advocacy for justice and accountability was not there. I did not see it, not in my opinion. And that is why after our advocacy in Liberia, we realized that we have to move it to the United States, because we know United States are a step farther. Whether we like it or not, they contribute a lot to us. And I'll say publicly today on radio that it is not the will of Liberian politicians that will bring about justice. The people themselves in Liberia may not even be their will, because they have not been united to the point where they can stand strong to force this on their government. It will be the will of the United States government to tell Joseph Yuma Boakai, our president and national legislature, that this is important. And unfortunately, that's the only way it will proceed. And that's why we have a little bit of belief in the process, because America's involvement is getting there gradually. And in fact, the president has been contacted. There have been meetings. We have been told, and even Ghana has been contacted whether they can host a war crime tribunal for us. So the process is not about Liberia. It's about some external force, unfortunately. Now you can talk about how independent we are as a country. I would argue that we are not, because we are unable to make decisions for justice and accountability, and we need another country to help us out. And that's why our advocacy with the United States seems to be what we depend on at the moment.
I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Savice. And then that will lead me to another very important question with regards to the part you play. When I say you, I mean the organization that you represent. This process of War and Economic Crimes Code being pushed behind the scene from a lot of angles. One group led by the likes of Councilor, former TRC chairman, Jerome Verdier, and to some extent, working with Henry Costa, Yatindi, and somehow the guy we saw the last time, Alan White, and some other people. What part did your organization play in the current reawakening of this process to push Choosing Mabaka government to say, you know what, this is a genuine quest, and this is something that Liberians are yearning for, and we must do it. Did you guys play any part, whether directly or indirectly?
I think we play a pivotal role in considering justice and accountability in Liberia. I cannot point to an organization more vibrant than Liberians United for Justice and Accountability during the 6 years a term of George Weah that actually tried to enforce this conversation on the government. I think MOJA has been very major in this process. What I really think that we've done that was very important when you look at all of the demonstration we carry on, the peaceful protests, campaigning for justice and accountability and petitioning various embassies and government, consistently writing these people and making sure that they know that Liberians haven't forgotten about justice. The most thing that I can think about is the collections of 300,000+ signatures that signify that Liberians really want justice. And imagine now, Sekou, this was done without financial support. This was done by us ordinary Liberians. You being one of the supporters, Moses being one of the supporters. I give credit to people like Yasendi and Lovetta Tukwe, to the point that even me as CEO of MOJA was accused by people on the ground of receiving money from the United Nations. And I'll tell you this, my brother, in this process, I'm not talking about what people help me with or whatever, in plane tickets, staying in Liberia, and I spend more than $65,000 of my family money on this process. And you can go back to what you spent, Sekou, or Moses, or Yasendi, or the efforts of trying to raise money here and there. And MOJA has never been fortunate to raise over $2,500 every time we start this, because the conversation of justice and accountability is not something many people want that are advocating. Like I said, I'm surprised you guys have been on the radio advocating. You're not looking for a job, so credit to you guys who advocate really well. The issue here is when you look at our advocacy, we wanted to make sure that we come up with something decent, attractive, that would change the lives of people. So the conversation of justice and accountability in the War Economic Crimes Court, nobody in the Republic of Liberia will be able to say they did more than MOJA. And not that we boast of that because we are arrogant, but because we actually put in the work. And those 300,000+ signature now ended the debate as to whether we want retributive justice or the other kind of justice that people actually talk about.
All right. So thank you so much. And now I will just ask one more question, then we go to my colleagues. That has to do with the process. Are you or MOJA is available to contribute to this process? You'll be called upon in terms of providing evidences, providing the needed resources that will enable the prosecutors and that of the court to actually do their work, without seeing bias or somehow discriminatory. Are you guys available to actually provide the needed support, whether it's in person, documentary, financial, whatever, that will make their job easy? Are you guys available to do that as far as you are concerned as an organization, MOJA?
Sekou, after all of the fight we are available. I mean, that's the reason why we got involved. And I don't know of any other organization that have more evidence of the crimes committed against humanity in Liberia than Liberians United for Justice and Accountability. We interview a lot of people. We have a video of people who are involved with this justice advocacy, people who are victims, and we are definitely ready for this process. We will be there when there is justice and accountability, conversation, and the court process and prosecutors. If it's available, LOJA will not be absent. We will be there, and we will be able to account most of the atrocity that we witness as kids and adults, and bring over victims that were actually affected by the Civil War that we do have in our archive.
Back to you, Steve. Thank you so much, sir.
Well, thank you. Let's take this back just a little more to see where you and others have come from, and where you are now. We saw in Front Page Africa and other news outlets, both locally and internationally, that you guys presented a bunch of documents. There was a big old pile of paper. Do you mind expanding on when those pile of paper were collected? Just briefly let us know what are some of the work you guys did to collect those pile of paper, and who did you guys present those paper to, and for what reason?
So the documents collected basically was signatures by victims of the Liberian Civil War. Those documents were presented to the U.S. government. So we presented it in Washington. Personally, I wasn't there. Yasendi represented us. Since Yasendi, you guys know her to be a vibrant advocate for justice and accountability as well. So those documents have been in the United States. I think for the last 2 years, we collected them. We presented it. It was acknowledged. And you know what? As a matter of fact, about a month ago, same question that Siku asked someone from Washington called us to let us know that the discussion is at hand, and they will be depending on LOJA as well to be a part of the process, just in case it comes to fruition. So that's what we did with the document.
Okay, so let's talk about Washington. Since you guys collected the documents, LOJA worked tirelessly to collect those signatures. We saw some of them live on Facebook feeds or other outlets, in Liberia. They kind of carried the story for LOJA. You guys collected these signatures from, let me say the Liberian way, from living people, Liberian people in Liberia. So you're not going to sit down somewhere and sign it. People sign it, we saw it, right? So that evidence is clear. My question to you now is, what is the role of the American government or other partners around the world who are interested in justice and accountability vis-a-vis the work you guys have done?
So America wanted to see that Liberians actually want justice and accountability. It's not something that they wanted to intervene at the time. Of course, I really think that's complete disingenuous to Liberians, the fact that we need them to help us. But basically, for the past years after the Civil War, Liberians have been electing warlords to be a part of the government. Is something that nobody could have comprehended, I believe, in the United States. However, we were able to communicate with them, along with other organizations, that people are really scared in Liberia. That people think that with the existence of these people in our space, they might create some kind of chaos. So they have been sitting back. But as we intensify the justice and accountability advocates, war and economic crimes code, it has been known to them now that Liberians are serious about it. I remember someone told me during the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration that conversation was brought up, and she was able to convince the U.S. government that Liberians need to settle, Liberians need to be able to reconcile, Liberians need to get back on the path of development, and she was able to convince them during the administration to stay away from the process. And then obviously after 12 years, we had George Weah, where we thought, like I said earlier, was going to be interested in the process. So we actually really try our best to make sure that we communicate to the American government that we need justice and accountability. And because of all that, today, America seems to be communicating with the Boycott administration. And for the initial part of it, we're hearing that the Boycott administration have been responding positively. And we hope that is what it is. Like I said in one of my earlier statements, it will be the American government making sure that this comes to fruition and not the Liberian government, because from all of the evidence gathered, Liberian politicians have not been interested in the process.
So you keep insinuating that Liberian politicians, especially those in quote unquote both houses, seem not to be interested, especially from the 54th legislature, which was just under the Weah-led administration. But I think we also saw you at the Capitol building at some point.
So let me give you one scenario, okay? On one of my visits, I visited Akara's Gray at his office. We sat for about an hour or two to talk about the War and Economic Crimes Court. One of the surprises I had during that conversation is the fact that the CDC has championed this cost when they were in opposition. So I couldn't comprehend why now they are in power and the likes of Akara's or Moba Molo or the Jefferson Koji are silent on the conversation of justice and accountability. And this is exactly what Akara said to me from the 2 hours conversation we had on the line of justice and accountability. He said, Emmanuel, you know what? We've been in the thing for years. You guys don't know why we didn't have it. Now that we are as president, you guys are pushing it. And that seemed bad and to us, because it looks like when the other people who committed atrocity were in power, you didn't care, blah, 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 blah. And this guy sound basically not interested in the conversation, making it look like it's important, but it's not going to happen under the Weah administration. Today, go look at Akara's Grip page. He's talking about War and Economic Crimes Court again. So when I tell you that politicians are not interested in this thing, I want you to believe me, because I went from office to office in Liberia. I took my time. I met people. I met representatives. I met people who were even acting like they care about it. Let me tell you about Rosalind Swakoko Dennis. Now she's appointed as NOCAR. This lady has really tried for justice and accountability. I give her credit. But there was some point where she gave up in the process. She was dealing with Ben and Ayuri. She gave up in the process, and she was accusing me and somebody like Yasindi of benefiting from the process. I listened, and there were people rebutting to what she was saying. I said, I'm not going to respond to her. You know what? Because genuinely, when I was arrested, she was one of the ladies that showed up, not just to the police station, but to the hospital where I was admitted. So
hold on. I hate to interrupt. Let's go back. Second Representative Swakoko Dennis, who is currently at NOCAR, was nominated to go to NOCAR. Are you saying that amidst all of the work that you guys were doing, she accused Yasendi of benefiting from this process? In what context, in terms of benefit? What do you mean by that?
And you know what? The Facebook post is still available. She went live. As a matter of fact, I think I listened to her about 4, 5, 6 months ago, just trying to refresh the people we deal with and how they turn on us or what their interest really is. This lady basically thought that we are benefiting. That's the reason why we are into it. So basically, just like what ordinary Liberians would say that are part of the process, oh, we don't want to be part of it because Emmanuel Savice is getting rich from it. But the United Nations is giving him money. And, you know, all of our expense, the money we've spent in Liberia for justice and accountability, I'll tell you, during all of the time that we protest in Liberia, no government official ever contributed to that. No politician ever contributed that. In fact, there was time where people accused Alexander Cummings or me receiving money from Alexander Cummings for justice and accountability. We got no money. There was no such thing. But these are the things that we've been accused of. And I was surprised when she made that statement that, you know, we are in the process for our own benefits. And that's just a little scary when it comes to those who have sacrificed for the process, turning against us. And in that life, she said why she was abandoning the process. And that's why I felt a little bit disappointed. I still have some belief in her because of the work she has done when she was in office. And I still believe that there can be a conversation with her that can change her mind on justice and accountability and her efforts. But it was very disappointing that she would say that about us who have tried our best and never benefited from this process.
So let me go back to one of the questions Sekou asked you, and then we'll go back to Sekou here because I still have some more questions to push you on. Sekou asked you about, the willingness of this government or other governments directly and indirectly that have been in the past, right? But let me read something. I listened to Gregory Como, who is the current police IG or police director, however you want to term it in Liberia. This is what he said, quote, I'm pleased to announce to the public that the LNP has set up a whole case file unit. And we are opening all of those investigations that are still pending to be able to give some closure to the family and to give them justice as soon as required. Here's my question to you. Gregory Como saying this under this administration, does that signal to you that the Bouaga administration is ready for justice and accountability?
So Moses, at the beginning of an administration, everything people say to you, don't take it as face value because that's the trend in Liberia. If I see actions and I see the conversation continuing on in the administration, then I start to believe. At this point, it's more of a guy sitting back, and every Liberian I think should do the same to see where this administration is proceeding. Because to campaign, you have to say the right thing. And if you just sit in office, you got to tell the people the right thing. Now, what do you do in terms of the right thing you have said is what we're waiting for. The justice and accountability conversation, Gregory Como was once LNP boss. It's not his first time. So, and that's the thing about people. And I see him as a qualified individual. However, you were there before. What did you do? You will always be questioned on that basis. So as I hope for this administration and want the best for this administration, I'm not inspired by what people say when it comes to politics. I'm inspired by what they do. So we'll wait for actions. That's all I can say.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kane. Before I come back again for another round of questioning with...
Yes, I'm here, sitting here smiling, just enjoying the conversation. I think a lot of people also do. Mr. Savice, I know this question will not make some Unity Party people happy, and especially those in the new government. With regards to the trend we have seen so far, we are talking about justice here. We are talking about accountability. But for some reason, it seems like Joseph Nima Boakai's leadership seems not to be effective when it comes to arresting situation, and also their reaction. Their reaction has never been actually encouraging. Joseph Boakai was running for president. We saw death, where in Unity Party people were accused of killing somebody in Lofa County. As candidate, he did nothing to address that. Joseph Boakai became president. Now, we saw police brutality in Kinjor, wherein 4 people are reportedly dead, and they saying that it's just one person. Now, yesterday, another person was reportedly beaten to death. And it seems like, and also by people reportedly believed to be employees of the government. And nothing seems to be done convincingly to address the situation. Do you think these things are being recorded and could potentially haunt this government in terms of human rights violations in the future?
I think so. Well, let's be very honest here. Some of the things that happen around the countries in Liberia, a country like Liberia, we say it's a circular state. Basically, you accuse the government of everything because the government is in charge of everything.
Yep.
The government is in charge of all the appointments around the country. There's no local municipality elections for people to elect their own leaders. We put the power in the hands of the president. And that's one of the things we've advocated against in our 25-page document to the former president. We don't want absolute power in the hands of our president, because that's some of the mistakes that we've made in Liberia and we continue to make. That's why we worship the presidency, because the president is now the highest employer in the country. So everything the president does is more of what the country do, because the president's in charge of everything. So if you look at what is happening right now, people killing people, things happening, someone will argue, well, it happens all over the world. Biden is not responsible when you come to America, but America has institutions. America has states that govern. They got cities that govern. So everything is now pushed back on the president. In Liberia, it is fair to accuse the president of everything because the president controls the entire country. It is fair for Liberians to think when there's death in a corner that the president should be involved. And I have not seen a president in the Republic of Liberia speak of those situations when they happen.
Yeah.
I have not seen any power from the president, say not during the Charles Taylor administration, not during the Ellen administration, not doing any kind of interim administration, not doing George Weah, and now early on in the Boakas administration. So it is fair for us Liberians to accuse our government, even if they are not directly involved, but they are to provide securities. They are to make sure that these things are not happening. But that is why I've always said, if we can kill over 200,
and not to cut you off, not only they have to make sure they provide security, but wherein any all security apparatus are accused of being the perpetrators of those things. People that work in government, it's one thing for something to happen in an isolated case where citizen versus citizen, other people doing things, criminals. But when in government officials, government employees, people that people pay are involved with these things, and then little is being done to fight it convincingly. I mean, it's one thing to watch it from distance when other people are doing it, other people are accused of doing it, but when it is coming from the government cycle, then now we are not only accusing you of doing nothing, but people will also accuse you, and we're going to be recorded as the government being the one involved in killing the people. And if that happens, what's going to happen in the future, this government will be potentially marked as one of the government that is involved in human rights violations if they do nothing about it. So that was the point I was trying to make.
And I agree with you, Sekou. Martin Luther King had a quote along the line that talk about the silence of us, not just the perpetrator, the silence of us. And now in this situation, within the context that you spoke, it's more having the president silent on the issue. When things like that happen, you need a leader to step out and speak about it and try to resolve it and make sure those accountable are brought to justice. You know why I like this part of the world? Somebody is responsible for something. Nothing just happened in vain.
Yep.
Somebody is accountable, and that's why this part of the world works well. In countries like Liberia, nobody's responsible for anything. So you can have, take for example, I was just looking at people who declare their asset. I see a certain senator that been in office for about 3 or 4 years, declaring over $100,000 United States dollars. And there's another representative today that have served for about 4 years as well, and he's into his second term now, declaring around 73,000 United States dollar. And citizens see these things. They are affront, because when you think about it, it's more of an abuse, a legal corruption that is mostly attributed to government officials. And that is part of the justice and the killing that we talk about, the economic killing that we talk about, the killing with guns, the killing with violence. And these are the things that we expect this administration to step on. You cannot have people serving as your senator or representative becoming rich overnight. These people make more money than the people that govern you in your state in the United States of America. These people get cars, they're driving, they're killing people. So it's not just what happened in Cape Mount that we see. It's what happened with the finances that should be going around, the resources that should be going around, that people who are presumed to be better senators and better representatives are getting rich overnight, while other things that Liberia is getting better under them because they are criticizing somebody they don't like. You know, I'll tell you something, Sekou. It will take me 30 years in Canada to own my house. I've lived in it about 16 plus years now. And that is only if I'm making extra payments, I will own it exactly in 30 years. The same for you, or the same for Moses, my brother Johnson there in Liberia. So I wouldn't say it's the same for him. In Liberia, you need 6 months of government job to build a $250,000, $300,000 house. Where's the money coming from? These are the things that we're talking about. So when you look at those who serve in government, they are not going to fix the system for you. It's Liberians that are going to fix the system through justice and accountability. Justice with salary. Justice with salary that bring about more securities in those areas to take care of lives. But instead of that, these people are getting rich overnight and pretending to care about the ordinary Liberian because they speak about the ills of society that they themselves are involved with and pretending to be better when in fact they are part of the reason why Liberia is where it is today. There is no reason, in my opinion, that any government official should be making over $3,000 a month in a country like Liberia, as poor as dirt. And these are the problems that we face in Liberia. When you elevate other people in society, the way we do in Liberia, especially government officials, ordinary people become very unimportant. And that is the reason why in places like Cape Mount, people can go and kill human beings, because these people are not important to the government. That's why nothing trickles down to them. It goes in the pocket of people. And that's why we say justice and accountability, the war on economic crimes code, salaries, tenure position, and all of the things that we have listed in our 25-page document to the president or the former president is important for any government to look at.
Thank you. So I just want to make a comment before I go to Steve with regard to this whole killing in Grand Cape Mount County. The government people will argue that the president constituted a committee to swiftly investigate and report to him. But I did not hear the president himself speaking directly, as important as human life is, to say this is unacceptable. We condemn violence, but killing Liberians for whatever reason is unacceptable. I didn't hear that. Secondly, I didn't hear anybody asking questions as to who killed the people in any country, any good country. First and foremost, the police that were involved, they know exactly who shot that gun that killed the people. The police among themselves, they know. In other countries, they will have constituted in an internal investigation right away. The police officer who was involved in shooting, that police officer should have been apprehended for investigation. It doesn't mean that that police officer is guilty, but if you respect the law, the rule of law, if somebody commits crime or something that seems to look like a potential crime, let that person be investigated, arrested, and have their days in court. Then, if they're not guilty, fair enough. But if we talk about justice, it starts with ourselves. The president should mandate an internal investigation and arrest people who were directly involved in killing the people. They even have to establish the further how many people were killed, because the pictures are evidently clear that is more than one person that was killed. Now, they still saying, the prosecutor is still saying that they wouldn't have information of one person. So it means that they are not doing their due diligence. So I believe the government of Liberia, the president of the Republic of Liberia, Joseph Nyimabuakai, should pay attention to these things so that they will not be recorded against you as human rights violations. Sometimes you don't do things directly, you are not directly involved, but once they are happening on your watch and you do nothing, just saying that I'm constituting a committee to go, they don't want it a lip service. We're talking about actionable leadership. I believe the Buakai government is not doing well when it comes to responding to these things. And down the line, it will come back to haunt you if you don't change your modus operandi. If you don't change the way you do things, it will come back to haunt you. I just want to add that this conversation, because most of them are watching and they're listening, and they always, some of them feel like SKTV being very critical of the government, and we are doing so for the right reason. We are doing so constructively so that they can do the work for the Liberian people. I just wanted to add that. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Kenneth. Emmanuel, let's talk a little bit about the portion of this War and Economic Crimes Court that you guys have been pushing for in terms of justice. Do you recommend that this Economic Crimes Court situation or seeking justice extend as far as those who are sanctioned? What is the plan for that?
So, unfortunately, this process is not left with me. But if I look at the context of Liberia, I think the Economic Crimes Court is even more valuable, because what those people have done in Liberia economically has destroyed the lives of many people. Then even the gun that Prince Johnson and the likes of Charles Taylor and the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the Ajiji Kroman, George Boley, Sekou Damatek Konen, you can just name them, have done in the country. People are living through extreme poverty in Liberia because of our failures to be able to check and balance system in our government. You can't have, and there are two things that are happening. Like I pointed out, one is legal. We get more pay, and it's written in the law. Like for example, the president pro tem can have $3 million, budget, and that's okay. I think that's legal corruption in a country like Liberia. Then you have these committees that Yeke Koluba always talk about. You have money that is in those committees that these very same people come back, the head and the benefit. So you have one person with no education, with nothing tangible to contribute in our society, except for the fact that we've given them power. And they have a bunch of people behind them that would support the presidency. And that is the reason why they are in where they are, the position they're in. They're making more money while other people are dying. Those are the ones that I describe as legal corruption, and somebody may say, I don't know what legal corruption is, but yes, it is legal, but it is corrupt. We need to end that practice, where you have people who are serving as representatives making $10,000, $15,000, and then they are bribed to get people to work for government, and then the president is sending money to bribe the deposits, concession, and all that. Those things have to be dealt with economically. I remember one time, Alexander Cummings spoke about our our revenue should be more than $1 billion. And there are people who thought, how, why? First of all, it's clear that most of the money that we get, they don't go through government revenue. They go in people's pockets. I am a believer of this because I've experienced it. For example, I send containers to Liberia every 3 months. Every 3 months. Every 3 months, I ship to Liberia. And if I'm paying $12,000 or $13,000 to free my container, there's only about $8,000 going to government. $8,000 or $9,000. So I can understand when someone speak of where is the rest of the money going. You know, one of the things Cummings said that I like, and people think, okay, yeah, this guy's a supporter of Cummings. No, I'm not a member of the ANC. I mean, I like part of the thing that he has said, that we got to stop this money from going in people's pockets and need to go through government revenue. And these are people who are being paid attractively, continuing to steal. And those got to stop. Then the second part is people selling our logs illegally, stealing money, people building houses in front of your faces that are not even making the kind of money that they should be making to own these kind of properties. Look at the last government. I can name about 25, 30 people that have built over 250,000 houses in just serving for 6 years, not even at an attractive position. But they're making the money and they're stealing the money. And these are the things that the Economic Crimes Code got to focus on, because government officials have been stealing money since J.J. Roberts' time. And if we want a better Liberia, we cannot do that in the 21st century. And that's why we keep doing. So I really believe the Economic Crimes Code should be more viable. And a lot of people with properties, a lot of people that have raising from being third poor to rich. Look at Jefferson Kochi, for example. I'm telling this guy was renting in Yucatan in a 1-bedroom house. Do you know where he is today? How possible it is if corruption is not part of the process? And those are the things that we got to face legitimately to be able to discuss what they have done to us economically.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Emmanuel, here is another question in terms of this justice and accountability issue. How far back do you want this to go, and how recent do you wish that, you know, those who are prosecuted, so it's not seem as selective as some will say, or it's not seem like witch hunt as some will say? What would you recommend?
So Moses, as far as the record shows, there shouldn't be any limitation on the justice process when it comes to economic crimes in Liberia. I'll tell you, during the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration, there was a lot of corruption. Even your son is enjoying the money somewhere. And there are a lot of people who comes back today in government and behaving like they are of a better Liberia when they have stolen the wealth of Liberians. I think we should go back to as far as we can recall. If we have a record on economic crimes as far back as 50 years, we should go back to it. I don't think this is a witch hunt. I think Liberia is what it is today. And you know, many Liberians don't understand that Liberia is way behind. For me personally, and you can say whatever you want to say to me, I don't think Liberia has the status of a country. And as bad as it sounds, it's the truth. Well, if you've been to Liberia, you will realize that it's not the status of a country. Liberia is behind in development. Liberia, look, I was watching a YouTube program the last time, I think about a week ago, and I listened to 16, 17, 15 years old being interviewed in Gambia. And they were talking about, you know, the prostitution or work that is going on in Gambia, where tourists are flying into Gambia, and they were giving their thoughts on it. These were kids. They are not even adults yet. And they spoke eloquently. They have reason to believe that this is not helping the society. Go do the same thing in Liberia and see the difference of how we are raising our kids in Liberia, the kind of education we are providing. And then you will understand what economic crimes have done to this country, because a country like Liberia is only affected with bad education because somebody's stealing money somewhere. And that's why they can provide the necessary things needed for kids to learn adequately. And that's why I said Go back as far as you can, because when it comes to economic crimes, there have been a lot. And that is the reason why the war law said it came. So we cannot overlook that part of it.
So just before I go back to Sekou here, in terms of the War and Economic Crimes Court, in your view, does it matter the location, whether it's in Ghana or because some are saying it should be held in Liberia as opposed to Ghana so that we can benefit economically. Some are saying, well, it doesn't matter that people go to Ghana. What say you?
You know, I would have loved to see it happening in Liberia, but for the sake of security, and that's what the Americans believed, that people will be put at risk. You know, they don't understand that these people are no longer powerful in terms of them having an army behind them, that people want to sacrifice their lives for them. The truth is, these people benefit and you don't benefit. So who wants to be running behind Prince Johnson or to protect him? But that's not what they see. They see the fact that, you know, it might be a problem. And the same thing happened in Sierra Leone. And Alan White would be the first to tell you that, I can't remember the guy's name. Was it? Do you know the general that was persecuted in Sierra Leone? I forgot what his name is, but most people thought that he was so powerful that when they arrest him, the Sierra Leoneans were going to come out in their numbers. That didn't happen. It did not happen for Charles Taylor, who is the most powerful warlord in Liberia.
You mean Foden Sankoh?
No, not Foden Sankoh. No, okay. No. I forgot what his name is. I think Foden Sankoh died a long time ago, right? So it wasn't him. Some Joy or something. I can't remember, but people who understand the process, who've been following, will know exactly who I'm talking about. But he was arrested. But let's come to Liberia. Charles Taylor was arrested. Did anybody go on the street? In fact, people were on the street demonstrating in favor of the process that this man was finally arrested. So just because a man sing hallelujah to you doesn't mean that he can't sing a song opposite of hallelujah. But I agree, Liberia should benefit from this, because I'm hearing the sum of $200 million that will be pumped into the process. If you take it to Ghana, Ghana will benefit, lawyers will benefit, prosecutors will benefit, and that's about it. But you know what? The question is it your money? Of course, it's not our money. What we want is to see those people arrested and prosecuted for the crimes they committed, not so much of the benefit. So I wouldn't mind if it's held in Liberia or Ghana or Sierra Leone or anywhere else. All I want to see is justice, so we can finally restore some sanity to that country, knowing that the 300,000 plus people that died and those millions of people that have been dying because of the economic wage that Liberians government officials have been carrying on can finally see justice.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kana, it's up to you. Before we
thank you so much again, Mr. Savice. You know, your eloquent, your understanding of these things is very, very good for the conversation. So I want to ask you, do you see any ripple effect on this idea of what economic crimes could increment to Liberia versus the benefit?
You know, I always say things to myself, because you know your life better than I do. You know some of the things you've done wrong. I know, Sekou know, Johnson know, everybody who's listening to us know that they're not perfect. And whether you believe in the Quran or in the Bible or whatever religion, there's something about perfection that we don't have. I am one of the person that would tell you there is no good human being in the world, even though some of us claim to be more morally correct than the rest of the people. What really governs us is law. If we didn't have law, I'm telling you, we would be worse than the lions in the jungle. And you witnessed that during the Civil War in Liberia. Human beings can be really bad. We can do a lot of things. What really prevents it is the law. So when you talk about the effect in Liberia, if we have the War and Economic Crimes Court, I can totally see a positive effect. I wouldn't see Moses getting pissed off because he advocated for good governance, and they never came. And he said, you know what, I'm going to go get them one day. And a lot of people being affected. Sekou won't do the same. Johnson won't do the same, because we know what it is. Today, you are not seeing on the continent many presidents being overthrown, because they understand that there is an effect. Whether it takes 10, 15 years, there will be some kind of process set up. And you might be guilty for it and going to jail, serving time. Nobody wants that for their life. And that's where we become good human beings, because the law stops us from doing what we can. I'll tell you, for example, in Liberia, when you're driving, you can get on the other lane, you can take off, get back on the other lane, you can move, you can do whatever you want. Whether the law exists or not, it's not working. I'm not sure you can do that in Arizona. Because if you try that, you know the consequence. But if Sekou was late for an important meeting in Arizona, and if it was possible, Sekou might do it. And as genuine as one may think that they have the morals not to, there is something in us that we should always consider that says self-preservation is the first law of nature. Everybody cares about himself. So if Moses and I are walking, and I was asked the question, we're in the jungle and a lion say, hey, between two of you, who should I kill? I'm not sure if Moses would say kill me and let Emmanuel go. And you wouldn't think that of me as well. The truth is, we are not good when laws doesn't exist or laws does not exist. We are bad. So if we don't have these laws in place, we might just be fighting. The good people will fight today, presume to be good, and then when they take over, they get bad. You see what happened early on in the Boyka's administration. A lot of people who have made sure that President Boyka led this country or is leading this country, when they're not appointed in government, where do you think they're going to go? They're going to go back to opposition. And there's not enough job for everybody. So unless you're benefiting, you don't really care. And that has been what it is in Liberia. So I'm saying laws, laws, laws. And if laws won't fix it, Sekou won't fix it, Moses won't fix it, any of one. And that's why I'm interested in laws that stop us from doing bad.
So I'm going to ask this question, then see if we can take some calls in Liberia. So in terms of security, because one of the reasons why some people think it's better off to go to Ghana is for security reason. Even at that, even though it's not, it's going to go to Ghana, is the Liberian government actually able to provide security in the face of this whole war and economic crimes code? Some people could use some illegal means to distract the process. Some people could also incite some violence when it comes to arresting of certain people. Some people could actually do something that could undermine the process. I think the Liberian government is ready, capable, and with a requisite manpower to actually make sure that Liberia is peaceful throughout the process and beyond.
I think there'll be a lot of joy in Liberia if the process of persecuting warlords began, whether it's on the capital Bapaz or in Nima County or in Ghana. And like Moses said about the economic part of Liberians benefiting, just before your question there, Sekou, it's sad because these people are going to sit in hotels and they're going to live the best life while working to persecute these people, when that could be coming to Liberia. So I understand that point. But then if you don't have the war and economic crimes code, the money is not even there. Lawyers in Liberia will make a lot of money from that. I understand that. The process of persecuting is what I'm interested in. When it comes to fear of what's going to happen, I don't think there will be any fear. Look, Charles Taylor, I still believe today that Taylor is the most loved Liberian. Even in the presence of the crimes he committed, I still believe that Charles Taylor is the most powerful Liberian. And I'll say this to you: when Taylor was arrested, people rejoiced. When Taylor left power, people rejoiced. What, do you think anybody in Liberia has the power, especially among those warlords that was before the Prince Johnson and the rest of them? You think they have power to do something negative because their eyes to face justice for the killing they did in Liberia? I honestly think that as bad as we sound as a country and people, we know better. I think it will be a joyful time to see justice. And I think victims of the Civil War would be happy. And, you know, those 300,000 plus people that died as a result of what they did, I think their souls can finally rest if we start the process and end the process. We should forget about the fear, because there's nothing to be afraid of. If there was truly something to be afraid of, George Weah won't be going to Italy and back and moving around. George Weah will be president. There is something he's afraid of. That's why even the Elections Commission reported that under 20,000 votes defeated him. He said, let's pack our bag and go. Because there is something somewhere he's afraid of. It's not because he's a good man. If George Weah was a good man, it would have shown through his presidency. It never showed through his presidency. So let us not be afraid, because there will be laws to protect us, and we should always rely on it.
Back to you, Steve, and then from there we can go to Liberia.
So just before we go to Liberia, you know, I just wanted to interject something here really quick, not necessarily a question or concern. You know, I've been hearing lately the discussion of, oh, it not being in Liberia, and some people get problem with it. All around the world, if you really notice it for truth, serious criminals, people who pose serious threat and menace to society, a country, and a nation, they don't really incarcerate them in their country. They try to take them away as much as they can. It's for a psychological and a strategic and safety reason that they do that. And sometimes it's acceptable. They could have built a jail or prison in Liberia to keep Charles Taylor there. They could have done it. But there are implications when you take these steps. I just want to make sure I made that point, you know. And at the end of the day, I agree with Emmanuel Savice that it has to be about justice.
And to your point, Moses, what if there was a jail built in Liberia for Charles Taylor, and now Charles Taylor's wife, or former wife, is vice president?
Yeah.
What do you think they're going to do? You know,
they try to get him out.
Just think about it, and that's what they're trying to avoid.
Exactly.
Just common sense.
So there are security implications to these things as well. So the same fear people are having, that when they come after them, the fear will even be worse when they come after them, arrest them, put in the same country. You know, they could govern our forces or so. But you know, I see Sekou smiling. Sekou, what's going on?
I'm just enjoying the conversation, so it's okay. And I'm also enjoying some of the comments. Sometimes when I'm not talking, that's when I can read the comments. So you can see me smiling, whether that attack or whether that praises or whatever it is against us, I can just be smiling, because some of these people, they would never just learn. But it's okay. Yeah, we can go to Liberia, so maybe one can take some calls.
Yeah, let's take some calls, please, if we can.
Yeah, so quickly before I take calls, I don't want to chip in.
Of course.
I don't want to do a follow-up question to all the questions that we asked. So yes, Chief, I want to ask you this question as to, because especially for me, I'm mostly interested in the economic code, or the economic crimes code. So how long do you think that the code is going to last for? Because sometimes after a certain time, some of the codes after a certain time, they will be maybe gone away and we may not see them anymore. So how long do you really think that the code is going to last for?
So usually, I think from arrest to prosecuting people may be up to a year. I don't think it will be less than that. I think if we're depending on the international community to do these things for us, from the day of arrest to the day of prosecuting, should be a year. And that's just what those criminal cases take. Since it's a specialized court, since it's focusing on Liberia, we might be able to do it on a year, but the possibility of it being under a year is something slim. And I can understand your question that if they are gone, what happens? Because we still see that the economic crime still being committed, and that's why I've said the laws of Liberia has to be strong. We got to look at the people getting rich overnight who are not businessmen, because when you're a businessman, you can do whatever with your profit, you can keep moving on, working and expanding. But when you're a senator and you tell him you got $100,000 in 3 years, I got a real problem with that. And I agree with you. There got to be a way where we got to continue this process of persecuting people that are committing economic crimes in a country like Liberia. So Johnson, you're right about that. And I hope we can sustain it. We can make sure that the process is carried on, and locally as a people, we can be able to do that so that when people commit these crimes, they can be prosecuted immediately, so that we don't wait for another war and then we start all over.
Good. Thank you so much. So, folks, you can now place in your calls to be part of the show on 0778-339-682. That's the number to call. The line over the start blinking. So let me go to this call. Hello.
Let me say good evening to Seku and the entire panelists, and good evening to the guests. Emmanuel, this is Daniel Johnson from Habel Firestone. Maybe like I said last night, I think we Liberians, we are excited and we are yearning for this to work. Let the economic code be established. Let the work code be established. Because, like I said last night, maybe the Karaska massacre that took place in Firestone, babies, thousands of human beings were killed. So who account for them? People need to pay for the atrocity they are committed in this country. So we are happy. No Liberians who experience the war, who know about this thing, will be against the war code.
Thank you.
Go there when you're exonerated, fine.
All right.
Impunity should not continue to be in our country. You have to pay for their action.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us from Gibi County to this call. Good evening. Yeah, we are good, bro. Go ahead, Chief. Your name and from where you join us? From Lofa County.
Yeah.
Go ahead, boss.
Yeah, I just happy for the news, and I'm happy for the news for the work and code and the economic and code. But I don't know why fear. Now, why everybody going to go big list and then Ghanaian will benefit and why they need to be here in our country? I think for us to benefit infrastructure, one, and our will be paid and all of the friends will benefit from that. Two, I heard your brother talking about it's not our money. Let me tell you something. America will never get any money that is not our that is free to let go. That's why the ambassador went on and now that they are not the one that gave Benin to let go. So they will never come out. They will get out their money back. That money they spending, they will get it back. And this again is a big piece. That water, as they carry Green Johnson, as they carry other people, they supposed to carry John Wood Senior and Junior. America themselves should bring them and jail them in that same jail. They will everything that happened to that girl, they are in court. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being part of the show. Let me go to Brian Tate. Brian Tate, good evening.
Yeah, member. Good evening.
Yes.
And let me say good evening to Mr. Savice, who and Steve. Before I go on with my statement, the general, Mr. Savice was struggling to call was Jacob Nama. He was in charge of Commodore.
Thank you very much.
And they were alien forces at the time. But when they arrested Jacob Nama, all the commanders, they vanished away. Some of them were arrested. Even they come to Liberia when Chachito was being held by the Solicitor General on the Rabo International Airport. The great bulldog were there. Matthew and Johnny were there. And they were only crying. That Pate Guao was nothing they could do. And I want to agree with Savi.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian Tate, former superintendent of Grand Junction County. To this caller, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, neighbor. This is Emmanuel Savice, and I joined the conversation with Uncle Cowell.
Good. Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Thank you. Thank to you and all the panelists. Look, whenever I hear about this rock post, trust me, I rejoice and I'm so happy. I pray for that post to be established. Look, I spent more than 20 years in Brooklyn, right? If I get you in Mojo Corner right now, there's a place to call Mojo Corner when I get you there. Look, this guy put almost 20 person in everywhere. Now, when they exist, if you go to right now, you see the spot. But each time I pass around, I bless my heart bleed. Only never people were putting that word, their heart was taking away, and people take their heart. And look, I'm so happy. I pray that all these people that God made time on our people, that one day they will be able to account for the bad behavior. If people call down harm to Liberia today, most of the things we are going through, they destroy our country, and they are passing around free in Liberia. We pray that this code will be established. Anybody who will get that code, trust me, God will be you. Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you so much for being part of the show. To this caller, good evening.
How are you, sir?
Yeah, we good. Go ahead, your name and from where you join us.
My name is Michael calling from Harvey. I'm very happy, especially to hear about the work concord, the economic concord. It's very impressive, and my belief and suggestion is it would be better for decision makers in Liberia, especially our senators and lawmakers, and to let it work on it so it can be established in Liberia. It would be helpful. It would be able to employ more youth, more jobs, and especially because it will go to improve the security system. So that's my own decision I'm looking at. So
All right. You want it in Liberia instead of Ghana?
yeah, instead of Ghana, because when you go Ghana, your security system will benefit. It will be inside, and then it will be in block.
All right.
And Liberia will be the same. Where we have to work. They will not do anything, especially when they grab the law, they go war law there. They will not do nothing. They are powerless. They are old. So the international community will go to work and make sure that they go to subdue them.
All right. Thank you. Even though they are old and powerless, but they still have followers, they still have people. To this caller, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, we're great. Go ahead, your name and from where you join us.
This is Brother Noah again from Baptist Seminary.
Okay.
I want to say thank you again tonight for a very good program, a very good presentation, and to our studio guests to say thank you. You know, he heard it from very well and he expressed things very well to us tonight to understand. But one of the things I want to say is that, you see, the government of Liberia will never be happy for war crimes to be in this country. Because most of the people that are working in the government, they are warlords, and most of them are poor involved in economic crime. So he was saying something that maybe it's the American government that has put policy in place. Maybe also the Bangladesh government that people will do that. So one of the things that we're really looking at is that why do people have to carry this thing to Ghana? Because in Sierra Leone, we know that in Sierra Leone, the people built a special court in Sierra Leone the last time, and that building is still there, and people are using that building for different purposes. So for us people that we're seeking for something to have, for us to have justice, we also look at it as beneficial if we have those things here.
All right.
There's no problem for security reason for us, we know that.
All right. Thank you so much. To this caller, you got to give other people a chance to also to be part of the show. Yeah, my brother. Good evening.
A pleasant good evening to all of the platform guests. I joined a conversation from District 4, and this is the voice of Akwe Ibuisi. Well, Labour, we must commend the American people, at least for making commitment to this process of the establishment of war and economic crime code. But Labour is the kind of opinion on where this particular war and economic crime code should be established. I would say to you, Liberia. I prefer Liberia because, like they just talk about, one, the benefits, at least Liberians will benefit. Two, Liberia is considered as the epic center. This is where those crimes and atrocities were carried out. So I believe when the war and economic crime code is established in Liberia, to lay hands on those evidences would be very easy. But I think taking it to another country, sometimes those that are supposed to even appear and testify, maybe they may not be in a position financially to be able to make their way to other countries. But I think when it's established here, those that are supposed to testify get them at any point in time. So it's important that we establish it here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for also being part of the show to this call. Emmanuel Sano. Good evening.
Good evening, people. Good evening to the panelists. Emmanuel is my name. Yeah, two jobs to speak to. I want to ask the guests, those who are elected and those who are appointed, who said that any position, if the worker who are having to come up now, support 100%, if they having to come with those people with the position or will they be in a position to persecute them?
Okay, all right. I think in fact you get the question. Good. So today's caller, good evening. Yeah, go ahead, Chief.
Good evening, sir.
Go ahead, boss. Your name and from where you join us.
The worker code that you are talking about, and the people that you're indicted, most of them, majority of them, in a government, they are employed. I'm asking you people now, how will you do it now if a worker have to come in to hold it? They will be in power your whole day, or the benefit, what may be the benefit of Liberian?
All right.
That's my two question because you are.
All right. Emmanuel Savice is listening. So whether they will be in power or not, that they will answer. To this caller, good evening. Hello.
My name is Calvin D. Mohammed, and I join you on Rembasa County to be specific, Buchanan City.
Okay, good. Go ahead, Chief.
Yeah, I'm so happy. That is the breaking news. I'm so happy that is what we've been yearning for in this country, for the World Class Code and that of the Economic Plan Code to be built right here in Liberia, so that those who committed those atrocities and stole from the Liberian people at the detriment of the masses, so that they can be persecuted. And when those things happen, brother, those things like stealing from government and then doing wickedness will stop. So I want for that economic class code to be built in Liberia and the economic class code as well. Thank you for having me on the show. We will be in prayer with you guys who are flagging those issues so that those things can be done. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much also for your participation. To this caller, good evening.
Thank you. Let me say good evening to the other panelists. As usual, this is Sam here and I'm calling from a Louisiana resident tonight. The issue of the war from code, let me first of all take it to the international community that continue to push the issue. I think my brother, those who committed crime in this country should pay for their crime. What is very, very regretting in Liberia, the people who kill people, they are still beside the state of this country. They are in leadership. They are still enjoying that some of us, that's why they said, for some of us, I lost my father during the war, he was killed. And the person who killed my father, I know him. So the issue of the war from code, it should be established. But my advice is that it should be established in another country. It should be jailed in another country because they still have control over their people. The other person will say, if you tell me my whole country will come, not to fear, but it should be established. It should be better that they should pay for the crime they committed. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. To this caller, good evening.
Yeah, maybe let's take about two more, then we'll give Emmanuel a chance
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
respond and then close before we leave the video.
To join the conversation from this retrieve community. You know, Libon, this country will need the war crimes code at all costs. The war and economic crimes code. There are some of us who actually saw these things happening. And other people will sit down, they say, really happy this way, really happy that way. Let's go by paper. Not everything that in a book, especially as to what happened during the war, you will see everything is true. There are some things they place in a book, like one time during Madame Felix's time, I listened to Damate Kone, who said, in fact, his voice did not kill anybody who said you were tired doing no. That happened in my presence. In fact, I would be very glad and happy enough if the War and Economic Crimes Code will be established in Liberia so that those who committed those atrocities will be prosecuted right in our presence so that we can see them go through the punishment or whatever will be prescribed for them. But my major concern here is let it be established by all of us. Let us do all we can. Let us continue to push this so that this thing can be established in Liberia. Thank you for having me on your show. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much also for your participation. So, Steve, Sekou, and brother Emmanuel Savice, you just listen to Liberians.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's give Emmanuel the perfect opportunity and chance to address some of these questions or concerns. Emmanuel, what say you before we get your pattern comment to leave the radio? What say you?
So I think most Liberians really do support the War and Economic Crimes Code. Listening to the callers, and I'm pretty sure if you've kept the lines open for the rest of the day, you will hear people talking about to support the process. So I'm glad that Liberians support the process. But before I conclude, let me just speak to ordinary Liberians on the issue of how justice come about. You see the way we chase politicians in Liberia? That's the way we should chase justice. When we are advocating for justice, and you see when George Weah is at 8 years and the whole place is bang everybody, that's what we need for justice. You know, when Joseph Yuma Bwaka and then hopefully that's what we need for justice. So the point I'm trying to make here is when it comes to justice and accountability, that's something we Liberians got to be interested in, not just following politicians because they're gonna let us down. It doesn't matter who you support. They're going to let you down. They're not perfect. They have their own agenda. And at the end of the day, we must chase what is right. Justice, the rule of law is what we should chase. I think most people spoke about the court being established in Liberia. I heard about 3 callers that think it's true. And you know what? Genuinely, Liberia stands to benefit if the court is held in Liberia. Those institutions that will be built, about the $200 million that we're hearing, can be built right in Liberia. And the next thing we can do is to make sure that if you're guilty, you're in prison somewhere else, not in Liberia. But that will be the negotiation of the Bwaka's administration to tell those who are supporting the process that Liberia is safe to have it there. There will be a complete negotiation on the part of the government. And I agree with callers because in as much as we're interested in these people being persecuted, we are also interested in continuity of the institution being established and stay in Liberia. But for me, the money is not coming from our pocket. So if United Nations or the United States government say it's going to be in Ghana, we have no choice, my brothers and sisters. We just got to accept that justice is what we need, and that's what they're trying to help us get. So I think in the end, it will be what the Bwaka's administration will be negotiating with those who support the process. And we're going to wait a year on that, but I am really glad, I'm happy to hear Liberians calling and supporting the process. And it just shows that what we have been saying, that the country really support justice. The country is not going to be chasing Prince Johnson if they're arresting. Why would it chase George? These people are murderers. These people kill human beings. Why do we want to support them? So I'm happy that all of the callers today on the show, the SKTV show, are in support of War and Economic Crimes Code, are in support of justice and accountability and the code being established. But before I leave you guys, I'd like to say to Sekou, to Moses, to Johnson, I thank you so much for thinking about us, Loja, to talk about justice and accountability, recognizing the work we've done in Liberia. We are proud of the work. We don't do it to be recognized, and that's why we don't call people to show up on the show or run around. That's why some of the shows that proclaim to be big out there that become gossip shows that Liberians like, they exclude us from this process because they know that we don't politicize this process. They know we're not in it for their benefit, and they know that we stand for what is right when it comes to this War and Economic Crimes Code. So I'm glad, my brothers. I'm not sure if there's any other thing that need to be said, but I just want to thank you guys for recognizing the fact that we.
Quickly before you go, someone asked about their positions in government. Some of them are holding key positions. How that will
Yeah,
work out?
and thank you for reminding me about that, Johnson. You know, when you are charged criminally, you are arrested and imprisoned. So the simple answer to that is, will be appointing one of you guys in government. If you are charged, you're going to be arrested, you're going to be in prison. I don't think any of those people are going to be up on bail. I think all of them are going to be in prison going through the process. So if we arrest a senator today because of war, economic crimes code, he's going to be in jail. He's not going to be serving you as a senator. And that's the only answer I can think about that makes sense, because you're not going to arrest a murderer like Prince Johnson and say, oh, the man on bail, he continue serving his position until. No, it's not going to happen.
All right. Very interesting, thought-provoking conversation here with Emmanuel Savice. It's always good to be in conversation with you, Emmanuel. We will be in conversation with you. And as need be, we'll definitely reach out to MOJA, to reach out to you, to get your perspective on national issues. Today, I know we're talking about the World Economic Crimes Code, but very soon we'll be reaching out so that we can talk politics and talk national issue too. Because apart from your advocacy, I believe you fundamentally also have interests and you are a stakeholder in Liberia. So seeing, what's going on in Liberia, the well-being of Liberia. Today, we didn't even get to talk about the Weah-led government, what happened to you, the Bwaka-led administration, what do you anticipate? We didn't get to touch on that, but we'll definitely be reaching out to you so that we can have another conversation.
And I can never turn SKTV down, so just let me know. Trust me, I've ignored a lot of show that have contacted me to be on it. I'm not SKTV, so you can contact me anytime you guys want. My respect to you guys for what you do, and thank you for continuing the process of fighting for good governance in our country.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. You'll hear from us anytime. Like you said, we do not expect you to tell us that. So, like, even the last before you, we know you will come, my brother.
I will.
We really appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
That was
Okay,
the
bye-bye, everyone.
Emmanuel Savice from MOJA. A very, very good conversation. And to Emmanuel's credit, we called him on the very last minute. And he said, listen, I will show up,
So, Steve, one question. Did you send a link to me, to your man, Brazil Among today?
I think so, 100%. I think so. Give me a second. Let me check on something. I think so, but I think we spoke last night. Monk seemed a little busy with something because we're speaking last night, he and I. Yes, I sent out the link to him. I did. I just double checked.
I saw they sent a link to me too, so I just asking whether you sent it to him.
Yes, I think he was busy yesterday. He was busy today. That's why. But I'm sure he will join us tomorrow. I know he was very busy because last time we were talking, he had to do something. He told me he would call me back. But folks, this is where we are. Mr. Kane, what say you based on what you've heard from Emmanuel Savice and all of the work they've done?
I listened to Emmanuel Savice and I listened to the callers. I think we all agree that Liberians are generally in agreement to the War and Economic Crimes Code in Liberia. There will be some people that are not going to, subscribe to this whole idea of War Crime Code because of the affiliation with certain people. I think overall it's good for Liberia. My only concern would be how fair, how transparent the process is going to be. And are we going to use the same brush against everybody, against all the perpetrators? Or are we going to selectively choose certain people to prosecute and then let other people go based on our connections, or based on who know you? If everything going to be free, fair, and transparent, and the process going to be like a blind justice, I'm all for it, and I think Liberian people are for it. And I believe the outcome will be good for Liberia because it will somehow send, a message to the will-be perpetrators of war and economic crimes And I am more, personally, I am more into the idea of economic crime than the war crime. Because the economic crime is the one that is killing our country. It's silently killing our country, even though the guns are silent. But the people that are trying to drag our country to the mud, people that are continuing to actually make our country to look bad, while they are enjoying, are the people who we consider as economic criminals. And they are everywhere. It didn't just happen during the war. In fact, they became more robust when the guns were silenced. They took advantage of the people and they exploited the country. Up to now, they still doing it. So I think the war on economic crimes code is good, but I am more interested in the economic crimes than the war crime. I want all of it to happen, but I would love to see economic crimes in Liberia, Steve.
Yeah, Mr. Kane, let me fully 100% support and agree with you. The war is over.
Yeah.
Yes, it is important. It is important to hold people accountable for their role in the war. However, what's prevailing, what's preventing, what's in current existence that is stopping Liberia from moving forward is the economic crimes. Because even when ex-President Doe was tortured by Prince Johnson, current sitting Senator Prince Johnson, he never asked about why you killed the Gill and Emmanuel people. What was his question to him?
Where do you have the
money?
Exactly. So when I hear these people, some people pass around and say Prince Johnson was defending Nimakande, you don't understand anything. You are either biased or you are ignorant or you refuse to accept the facts knowingly. It was never about the Nimakande people. It was all about the money. That's what it was about. And because it was about the money, they have brought that idea today, currently as we speak. You know what I mean for them to say your House of Representatives spend almost $1 billion or use almost $1 billion. Do you know what $1 billion is? You know how many?
$100 million times 10. 100 million United States dollar times 10, $1 billion there.
Do you know how many people life can change in our country with $1 billion? And you sit there and you say you don't support the effort?
But Steve, my question to you though, before we leave the radio, it is concerning that you're going to be war economic crimes code, but what is the statute of limitation and what period this thing going to cover? Is it going to cover only during the war or is it going to cover after the war? Because people engage in economic crimes after the war, largely from Ellen government to Georgia government. Is the war economic crime code going to prosecute people who are involved in those things? This would be limited to the people that were engaged in it during the wartime from 2000. From let's say from 1990 to 2003. What is the statute of limitation?
What did you quite understand?
No. I think the specifics will be drawn once it passes the House, both houses, and it's brought to the president's desk to be signed into law. Look, Mr. Kane, let me say this. In as much I don't want to get into some background information. People are reaching out to people who will be part of this conversation to determine the limitation and who and what to go after specifically to ensure that Liberia there are conversations being here already. Now, we were privileged to some of these conversations. For all indications, the first step that wants to be laid is to get the approval from the president or the government concurrently. Now, once that is done, things will go very speedily, rapidly, and fast. There will be parts of the TRC that would be considered. However, there will also be the incorporation of current days thievery, the stealing that is going on, in order to curtail and to hold. Look, let me say this. The meeting that was held in
This thing gonna be really, really interesting.
Mr. Cannon, the meeting, let me say the
more
before,
than interesting.
let me say that before Melbourne take us off the radio or before we leave, our time's expired. In December, we had the privilege to sit on a meeting. In December, I'm not going to call dates. In December, we sat on a meeting. We're privileged. We have photo to that effect. In this meeting, you recall the picture that was taken in DC. There was pictures taken in DC that were paraded on Facebook after SKTV smoked out President Joseph Yuma Boakai from a hiding place in Rhode Island. There was a meeting. In that meeting that was held in Washington, D.C., where President Joseph Yuma Boakai met with top guns, big boys, where President Joseph Yuma Boakai made the commitment to the word, to serious-minded leaders in the word. In that meeting, the situation, the conversation about the most recent economic crimes came out, stemming from the legislature. That conversation came out. And President Joseph Yuma Boakai, from our sources in that meeting, reliably informed us that President Joseph Yuma Boakai accepted all of the terms and conditions without restriction. So this informs us, because after that meeting, there was another meeting that we held to get the facts, to ascertain the fact of that meeting. Because listen, we're not here to do this, say, I say, and we don't talk small children and talk. The talk we can talk, that BB talk. And when we talk, he talk there, that might make it when it start happening. Yeah, that BB boss talk, we'll talk. When we told you, I said the two are going to be
all right.
Yeah, my man, no way, give back. You're Nina on the list.
Yeah, man. But anyway,
Maybe on the list. Maybe was nobody.
Why you running away?
No, look, someone said to me, it's just so interesting. Someone said, maybe, the person texted me, the person, maybe you spend nearly 11 years in a private sector without getting anything. But somebody that in government for less than 1 year, the person get duplex, the person get everything. So I said, that's the kind of system we have. So I think.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Before you go, somebody asked a question whether Honorable Musa Hassan Belete is going to be here tomorrow to discuss the whole asset declaration. Yes. It's a resounding yes. Chairman Musa Belete will be here tomorrow. We'll discuss in detail his declared assets to the Liberian people. And you don't want to miss that conversation. We'll also be asking him about some of the happenings in government. And the last time I heard that Musa Belete was a chairman on national security at that's a big position. That's even bigger than people can think of. A lot of people think when it comes to the leadership, especially the speaker, the deputy speaker in Ways and Means, because those one that do a financial thing, people
money era.
But being national security chairperson of national security, that's even bigger.
Yeah.
So yes, Belete will be here tomorrow.
And
so he will be here tomorrow to also give us some.
Just so you know, Melbourne, to our listeners, our viewers, we're not just restricting the conversation to his assets tomorrow. All of this conversation will be in play because his role also gets him involved directly and indirectly with what's going on. Whether you like it or not, he will be involved. Because the issue of war and economic crimes code also implicates the security implications to it. And so the chairman will be pushed from all angles tomorrow. Look, let me tell you something. Tomorrow, you who say who support Musa Belete, and Sekou that support Musa Belete doing the one. You come tomorrow.
Musa not shy away from questioning though.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I'm ready.
Good night. Tomorrow, by God grace, tomorrow.
Let me run away, man.
No, we have another program on our back. But how be it, please, to our people, that our viewers, please don't forget, chip in. Today is Saturday, even though maybe on yesterday, some of you forget. But how be it?
I think 2 people send a cash app.
Yeah.
$25.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me make sure.
Yeah, but Mr. Kane,
Yeah, so yeah. It was one person saying $25 to Zelle, and then one person saying $25 to Cash App.
yeah, but
So
let me
good
ask
night.
you, thank you.
Yes, good night. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Kane, that how we call it a day because
Yeah.
we've been here 2 hours, 4 minutes. Folks, thank you. Mr. Kane, I'll leave it with you.
No, we got to go. It's okay. I'm tired. I just came from the gym and I have to rest a little bit.
Yeah.
And I got to go to hit up brother too. You know what's up.
Yeah. When you come from there, then we'll be there later on.
Yeah.
Just ignore me.
All right.
Folks, thank you. Let's have a good day. Mr. Kane, you close it, right?
Yeah, no problem. I can do it.
Yeah. Folks, you're
They may tell Mabel running away. They hear running away more than Mabel said. You shouldn't mind Steve. So all the challenges that I posted today on my page, on my personal page, not SKTV, for exercising, those are real challenges, man. I hope my brothers will take the challenge and do theirs. Somebody came and say, oh, the way you did the push out, that's not the right way to do it. You just got to go all the way down. I said, my man, just do your own and put it there. Say this is the right way to do it. Don't come here and write inspire story that are not the way to do it, that the way to do it. Just go prove me. Just go and do it the right way and send it to, and just post it under the link there, under my post. Before you come here running your mouth and not the right way to do it. So you're lazy, you're hard to wake up from behind your, you're behind your thing and your job one will be criticizing people. Just go and run. Some of you can't even run for 10 minutes. You'll be breathing like cow. And let alone to talk about push-up. Maybe if you live in Arizona, just take an invitation. Let's go to the gym and go exercise together, have some fun together. Yeah. So I want to say thank you to all of you. You guys are the best. I didn't start the show. I was now actually on the show when the show started. Steve started it. Well, now he's leaving me here to close it for him. We'll see you tomorrow. Chairman Musa Belete will be here. Inshallah. Have a good night.